Welcome to another episode of the Loan Officer Experience Podcast. I'm here with my good friend, lender partner, Gold Star Mortgage, with Christian, the man, the myth, the legend. How are you, my man?
I'm good, KT. How you doing?
Man, it's Fuse Week, right?
That's right. It's
We're
exciting.
Here. Yeah.
It's amazing space. A lot of happy brokers out there ready to meet everybody and learn and have a great conference.
You know what I love about AIM is it's not the same organization that it was just a couple of years ago. And, you know, our leadership has really taken a trajectory to take our organization to a place to help better serve our lender partners such as yourself, provide value to the broker community so they can, you know, close more loans in their community, grow their business, you know, go from where they're at to that next level, whatever it may be for them. And, you know, that's what we love so much about you guys, being able to come in, these lender partners, you know, Gold Star Mortgage, to be able to, you know, share a little bit about yourselves. And I want to talk about that. Also cover the products and the services and just the mindset, because you and I both know, man, this whole industry is about relationships. Right. And that's what I've always loved about you, right? Is you don't go out there chasing business, barking that you're the best here and best there. You're really strategic. You're very intentional about your relationships. And I've noticed that. And so I want to talk a little bit about that as well. So we'll just jump right in, man, if you're good with it.
Sure.
Tell us a little bit about Gold Star Mortgage, maybe where you guys started, you know, your evolution and kind of what your platform is today and how you guys want to help more people.
Yeah, actually, we just turned 25 years old a week ago. And so we've been operating in the mortgage space for 25 years now. We started as a broker shop. You know, our same owner was a broker originator, grew it loan by loan to be one of the biggest originators in the country, was in the Scotsman's Guide. I say he was in the Scotsman's Guide before it was cool to be in the Scotsman's Guide, you know, and we evolved as a lot of mortgage companies try to evolve into a mortgage banker, grew a branching operation, and now are really focused and growing in the TPO space because, you know, our strategy is, you know, I'm a former broker, our owner started as a broker. You know, we want to give back that service and relationship driven attitude that's always been in the space, and we think we can execute really well. And we think we have a strong place to grow in the market.
Sure, and that's what we're here, right? I mean,
that's exactly right.
You know, just make that pie just a little bit bigger for everyone, and you guys do. You know, I just sometimes feel like you guys are maybe the smaller guys on the totem pole, so to speak, right? Is that fair to say?
I think we're in a great spot. You know, we're in a position to continue to grow. Like you said, there's plenty of market share, you know, and we're relationship driven. We're gonna attack all, you know, the channel one loan at a time, one broker at a time. We want to be that person that they're confident at sending business and know that we can get it done with good service and a very competitive price. And you know, thankfully we have, you know, a strong capital background and a strong business sense that we don't need to do things that put us out of comfort, and we're just being very successful at it.
Yeah. You know, when I say small, it's like I feel like you guys have done, you know, really good job of being strategic on reaching the market, right, and being a lender partner for even AIM. But when I compare you to other, you know, larger companies, that's what I love about you guys is like you are in a place where you're growing and you're wanting to get more market share. I want more brokers out there to know about you guys. I want you guys to grow. I want to see you succeed. And that answer that you just gave, that's exactly what it is that I love about you guys, is that you know who you are, you know what business you want, you're not compromising that, and you're not going to put your company in a place, you know, doing bad loans.
And I think sometimes that's a misconception when you're a smaller lender, that you can't do what the bigger lenders can do, right? And we, you know, we're direct to all the major agencies, right? We have very similar turn times. Our pricing is just as good, if not better, right? Our products are just as good, if not better. And at the end of the day, I think why you excel in this business is the people, and the people at Gold Star. We just have a fantastic team, and you know, the team behind me and behind every one of our account executives and underwriters and closers and funders just work every day to get it done for our broker partners, and that is what's going to help us succeed and continue to grow in the future.
Well, there's been nothing but good reviews from what you guys have been doing. I've seen it personally. I've looked at their pricing. it is like they're just some of the best, right? It really is. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your backside. It's generally great pricing. And it's very rare that we ever hear anything, bad about Gold Star Mortgage. And even when we do, or we have maybe once, right?
Sure,
Maybe
that
twice.
happens.
Yeah, but that happens to all
Yeah,
of everybody, every lender partner.
Every loan is hard. There's no such thing as perfect loans, right?
Yeah. But what I always respected about you is you've always taken the bull by the horns, and you've just either owned the mistake or the challenge, or just said, hey, I don't care who messed up, we're just going to fix it, and you get it to the finish line. And I think that a lot of brokers, when they're looking for lender partners, especially when they're growing their business, they need sometimes a little bit smaller is better, because you can get a level of service that you may not be able to get with some of the bigger lender partners. And so I know when I started in the business, I started with a smaller firm, but it was like they took care of me, and I couldn't have been successful without those relationships in place to help me elevate my business and take it to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm very big on being transparent with our partners,
Yeah.
and being hands-on and making sure that we're doing right. And when we make mistakes, we own them. We're not gonna punt it, and say, that's a policy. We're gonna do everything we can to make it right. And because that's what a partnership is, right?
Sure.
If I don't execute on my end, you're never going to send me another loan, and I have to earn the business, right?
Sure.
And so that's the whole point of this, is making sure that we continue to execute for our broker partners so that they can be successful, and if they're successful, we'll be successful.
Right. I love it. So I'm going to ask you another question. Okay, it's going to be a little bit outside the box to some degree, and when it comes to products and customer service and being able to deliver, in some regard, I always like to say this is, KT's personal, analogy is, it's kind of like I have friends out there that are just like, hey man, I'm a good dad. I put food on the table. I put a roof over my kids' heads. I put clothes on their back. And I'm like, yeah, you're supposed to, right? What are you doing above and beyond to be a better parent? I like to kind of reframe that question and say, all the lenders should have good customer service, good pricing, good culture, all these things to be able to, especially get the loan across the finish line. What are you guys doing above and beyond, or what makes you guys different, to stand out and to be that 5-star lender?
Yeah, I love that you said that, just because, we have a lot of conversations, unfortunately, on problem files more than you do on the good files. And, something that, I tell our team a lot, and then I tell our broker partners is, yes, this loan could have a lot of reasons that it can be, in limbo or in balance, but don't forget all the ones where we did exactly what we needed to do, and you never even talked to anybody, right? And it went perfect. But every loan needs to be like that. Our approach is whether it's a hard loan or an easy loan, or regardless of the product, we're gonna work them the same, right? And I think that's an important mindset to have so that you can execute that way. And then what was the other question? Because I forgot.
Just what are you guys doing above and beyond, like to really stand out? Like,
well, I mean,
everyone has their thing.
So to stand out, our growth strategy is every loan is important, right? And so we don't, just because it's a small loan amount or a USDA loan or, a DPA loan, because we do a lot of down payment assistance.
Right.
Every loan is treated with importance and care. And, we want to make sure that we're executing. We understand everything. It's not just a loan officer sending a loan to another lender, right? There's a family, there's realtors that are trying to earn commission, there's title companies that are trying to get paid, there's one family that's starting a new chapter selling a house, another family that's trying to move in, and all of those stresses and responsibilities are falling on a loan officer that sometimes isn't getting communication or doesn't know what's going on. And so every loan, we need to have the right communication and back that partner up successfully, so that transition can happen, and that ripple effect of one correct action just creates, years of memories for a family and they have no idea that they even happened. So.
Yeah. And that answer alone says all I need to know about Gold Star Mortgage, because a lot of people need that, and even for me, I know that when I have a family in my community who needs to be served, and maybe it's a middle of the road file, or it's just very important that, that this one get extra special hands-on. I'm just being honest. Like, I don't always get that with some of my bigger lender partners, right? You do become somewhat of a number sometimes, and that's okay. I mean,
right.
The result still is often positive. But to have that security, knowing that this is a special, client that I have, I like to know that I can send it over to you guys and that it's going to be taken care of. at that level, especially if there's, if there's something that I might be concerned about.
Well, and we want you to have that confidence,
Yeah.
right? Because and because if you have that confidence, that means we're delivering,
Yeah.
right? And if you don't have that confidence, that means we're not delivering, and we need to reassess what we're doing wrong. Because that's this business is constantly evolving, right? The way production is being done, the way pricing and everything, and so you can't ever just be content where you're at and how you're operating. You constantly have to be evolving in auditing the work that you're doing, making sure your partners are happy, making sure the people that work for you are happy, and we're executing consistently. And part of that is making sure that result of that we're talking about is constantly being executed and happening.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's talk a little bit about TPO. I know how you were saying just before this podcast, we were talking about, hey, let's talk a little bit about TPO and how there's zero risk in participant. No, I'm just kidding. Just share a little bit about from GoStar Mortgage, positioning. Talk to me a little bit about TPO.
Well, we've made a concerted growth strategy in growing our TPO channel, not just in wholesale, but we're also growing on non-Del, mini core,
Yep.
emerging banker, whatever the fun word of the day is for the non-Del channel is. And we see a lot of potential in it. That year over year, the growth that's happening in the channel is amazing, and it's another great way for us to get homeowners, into houses, affect the community positively, and TPO has just been a great channel for us to affect that growth in.
Yeah. I have been a broker first 10 years of my career, then went retail for 9.5 years, came back to the broker world a few years ago, and I've only been correspondent in the broker side. And I think a lot of people have either a misunderstanding about it or they think it's, a lot of risk. And I just don't think that. I think that there is some risk, but it's not, to me, the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak, to participate in it, especially when you understand how to utilize that tool to be able to close more loans and get better pricing for your clients a lot of times.
Right.
So what is your feedback on that? And what would you say to someone that was considering being a correspondent lender?
Well, I think there's risk in everything, right? Even if you're, crossing the street, there's risk, right? So I think if you're a good actor and you do things correctly, right, and you care and you're responsible, I think it can be kind of like yourself, a channel where you can thrive in, right, and do really, really well. I think it gives you some flexibility being a non-Del correspondent that you just don't have in the wholesale space with pricing and some of the way things are displayed in disclosures, that can be easier for consumers to understand. But sometimes, it's not as, there's a little bit of a higher barrier of entry to be a non-Del correspondent, but that don't think that should shy away any broker. I think maybe they should definitely look into it. We're happy to help people grow with it. We do it every day. We have those conversations, but it's not for everybody. Some people love just staying in the wholesale space, and there's nothing wrong with that. And some people, like yourself, go straight into non-Del and are successful. So, I think that's one of the great things about the TPO space, that, there's different ways that you can originate and grow your business. There's not just one set way, and there's plenty of partners that you can do it with too. So that's why relationships, going back to the beginning, are so important, because you just find somebody that you feel, will back you and will be in your corner. And then now you have a strategy in how to grow your business, right?
Yeah.
And you do what you do best, which is originate and get loans in the pipeline, and let your partners do what they do best, and then that way you can have a good synergy and grow the business.
Yeah, that's a great answer, man. That's true. It's like, it's just whatever's best for you, right? Yeah. And having those options, whether it's just straight broker or correspondent, and really what just fits for you best. So I think that's a really honest and fair answer. Now, we've been obviously, you and I have had this conversation. The industry's been having this conversation for a very long time. Is how are we moving forward as a community, right, to grow the broker channel? And, we're all doing it. I feel like we're all rowing in the same direction, sometimes not at the same time, and sometimes we get off course a little bit. But there are still, man, even being in retail as long as I was, I have a lot of retail friends, and, pretty often I get phone calls, say, hey, KT, how's it going over there? How is it over there? And it's because they are, and I'm not here to bash retail, but they are having challenges. They're having the pricing challenges, although they've gotten better in some regard. They still have pricing challenges. They still have, lesser control a lot of times. And, there's a lot of them that are saying we're at 27% on the wholesale side. And a lot of us would like to see that get to 50, 51%. It's been there previously, right? We've seen it. I've lived through it. And we're going to get back there again one day. And I really genuinely believe that. What would you say to a retail loan officer, branch manager, someone that's sitting on that side? And again, we're not here to bash retail. I lived in the world. It served me very well. And I think it's a good fit for a lot of people. But even this morning in session, one of the things that the Union Home Mortgage had spoke about and is they're on both sides of that fence, you know? And he was like, yeah, man, our wholesale channel is out now bigger and will outgrow, maybe even had currently outgrown because it's a new acquisition that they had with Sierra Pacific. It's a bigger part of their business. Interesting, right? So what would you say to these people? Because there's so many, I know they're out there because they reach out to me so often. I can't imagine how many haven't asked, but that's something I always like to ask, what's your take on that? Like what would you say to someone that's just maybe on the fence and unsure?
Yeah, we're on both sides, of the channel as well. Right. So, I think it's kind of going back to what we said. I think as the business has evolved with more technology and everything, there's not just one way to originate, and I think it's about where the originator is comfortable, and I encourage when I have conversations for them to try every channel, right? Because at the end of the day, you need to figure out where you're comfortable. What makes, I think almost by definition, a lot of the wholesale brokers are entrepreneurs, right? They want to, have a small business and have more control and have more say, right? And have more direct relationships. And that's great. But there's also a lot of originators that they just want to be behind a desk and do what they do best, right? And have a team behind them. And that's not a wrong answer either, right? But the ability to have, what they may think is a better price or a more competitive price, and the ability to have more options, right? And just have more availability and the ability to create those relationships directly is an advantage in wholesale, right? In the TPO space. So it really depends on the person and how they want to do their business. But I think that's why you're seeing growth, because more people are getting in it and they're liking it and they're staying in. And I think, as you see the business, as you see technology evolve, and it'll be interesting to see how that market share kind of shakes out over the next several years.
Yeah, without question. I remember back in 2008 and even 2010. I was the one. First of all, I was the last of the Mohican. I was one of the last brokers standing. I felt like, we were down to 5%, and one of the challenges was the simple fact that, technology back then, it was a lot harder. It was a lot more work. I had 5 different sets of overlays, 5 different lenders I was working with, 5 different ways to submit files, and it was just a little complicated, a little clunky, stressful tasking, on the team. And I remember when I went to retail, it just got streamlined, one process, one system. It was great. And that was a good place to be. Today, with technology leveling the playing field, in my opinion, I just feel like it's simpler, man. I feel like that, why not become a broker, close the same amount of loans? You could close less loans and make more money.
Yeah, potentially.
You
Absolutely.
could, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple different, but in fairness, I think a lot of the challenges that the brokers have is scalability, right? How do they scale? And, we don't have time for all that today, but it's definitely something that can be done when you plug into the right, either the right team or you scale it the right way.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing is, and going back to what you were saying, when you were the last broker standing, like you phrased, I think at that point, kind of the industry thought there was only one option moving forward because of Dodd-Frank and everything that happened. And, as the industry kind of settled after that, competition, breeds opportunity and different avenues started coming on board. But at the end of the day, it's exactly what you said. As you scale, you need to figure out who your partners are, who you want to build your business with, what your options are, right? And the TPO space gives you that opportunity to be able to have those conversations with more people and maybe make some of those decisions yourself. And maybe you stumble a few times, maybe you hit a home run in the beginning, but the ability to grow and learn like that is a great adventure that I think a lot of the brokers that are downstairs right now use as a badge of honor, right? All the obstacles that they had to endure and get through to get to where they are today, and the relationships they had to build, and the lenders that they used and didn't use, and all that stuff. And those war stories get told over and over again. And I think that's what makes this community so great as well, right? That type of engagement and ability to share within one another.
Yeah, I love that. Well, last question.
Sure.
It's a moment of truth. You ready, Christian?
Sure.
All right.
Let's go.
You're a brand new loan officer coming into the space. Retail or broker?
I'm a broker. I started as a broker. I'm still a broker. That's why I work in the broker space. That's the easiest answer of the day for sure.
That was a risky question. I'm glad you answered it that way.
Yeah,
So,
there's no risk there. Remember, in TPL, there's no risk, right?
Yeah, I understand. Well, man, we appreciate your time today. I really do. I know, we've been meaning to do this for some time, and I'm glad we were able to do it here, and looking forward to doing some more. So, if someone wants to get signed up with Gold Star Mortgage, like, what's the simplest way for them to do that?
Yeah, they just need to go. They can go to our website, goldstarwholesale.com, and there's a sign up link. They'll click that link, and then we'll get an account executive to reach out to them immediately. And we don't use co-mergence or any of those fancy tech tools. We want our account executives to reach out to you directly, get to know you, make sure everything is getting done, and we'll get you in our system and get you sending loans as quickly as possible so you can feel everything that we've talked about and the service and the relationships that we want to build with you.
Okay, and you guys are still giving 625 bips for signing up?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't. I think the market won't really allow that.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks, KT.
All right.